What if I told you that Dexter Morgan isn't hunting just one killer anymore? He's becoming the prey of two? And that's not even the craziest part. Paramount Plus has finally dropped the first official look at Dexter, Resurrection Season 2, and hidden inside these images are clues that completely change what we thought this season would be. A legendary actor is joining the franchise as one of the most terrifying killers Dexter has ever faced. Harrison is moving further away from his father's code, and Dexter himself may be fighting something even more dangerous than a serial killer, his own identity. Today, we're breaking down everything revealed in the first look photos, the new cast, the official story details, and why this season could become the darkest chapter in Dexter history. Trust me, there are details hiding in plain sight that most fans completely missed. Ever since Dexter Resurrection brought Michael haul back from what many believed was the definitive ending of New Blood, fans have been asking the same question: where can the story possibly go now? Season 1 proved Dexter could survive physically, but Season 2 looks ready to answer something much more interesting. Can Dexter survive emotionally? Based on everything Paramount has revealed, this isn't just another serial killer investigation. It's a psychological war. For the first time in years, Dexter might actually be losing control, and one detail from the official synopsis completely changes how we should look at this new season. One thing has always made Dexter dangerous: control. He controlled his victims, his emotions, and nearly every crime scene he stepped into. Even when everything around him was falling apart, Dexter always believed he was the smartest person in the room. Season 2 appears ready to destroy that illusion. According to Paramount's official description, Dexter finds himself trapped between two different killers, each with their own methods, motives, and agendas. That's a completely different challenge from anything he's faced before. Normally, Dexter studies a single target, learns their routine, understands their psychology, and then executes his plan with precision. But how do you predict two monsters at the same time? Suddenly, this isn't about hunting anymore. It's about survival, and that shift alone raises the stakes higher than they've been in years. Just when that premise couldn't get any more exciting, Paramount revealed one of the biggest casting surprises of the franchise. Brian Cox joins the series as the New York Ripper, a legendary serial killer whose crimes have haunted the city for years. Anyone who's watched Brian Cox knows exactly why fans are excited. He doesn't rely on over-the-top performances. Instead, he creates villains who are calm, intelligent, and terrifying because of how little they reveal. That's exactly the kind of opponent Dexter has always struggled against. Dexter isn't afraid of violence. He's afraid of people who can outthink him. Imagine a killer who's always 5 steps ahead, someone who understands manipulation just as well as Dexter does. What if the New York Ripper already knows Dexter's secret before Dexter even realizes he's being watched? That possibility alone could create one of the most intense psychological battles in the history of the franchise. But Brian Cox isn't the only major player changing the game. Thurman's return as Charley may be even more important than many fans realize. After seeing the first look images, it feels clear that Charley isn't just another supporting character. She appears deeply connected to whatever larger conspiracy is unfolding around Dexter. She carries herself with complete confidence, almost like someone who already knows how the story ends. Dexter usually controls every conversation he's part of, but around Charley, that balance seems completely different. Is she truly an ally? Is she manipulating Dexter? Or is she simply using him as a piece in a much bigger game? The uncertainty surrounding her character could become one of the strongest mysteries of the entire season. Meanwhile, Harrison Morgan continues moving further down his own path toward justice, and that's where things become emotionally complicated. Harrison isn't just Dexter's son anymore. He's someone who's already crossed moral lines, and unlike Dexter, he hasn't spent decades learning discipline through Harry's code. Dexter's code was never just about killing bad people. It was about controlling the darkness inside himself. Harrison doesn't have that same level of control. He's younger, more emotional, and far more impulsive. That creates a terrifying possibility. What if Harrison decides he doesn't need Dexter's rules anymore? Instead of simply watching father and son work together, we could see two completely different ideas of justice collide. One built on patience and control, the other built on emotion and instinct. If that happens, Harrison may become the person Dexter fears the most. And there's one small detail from Paramount's official description that almost everyone overlooked. Dexter is reportedly dealing with a midlife crisis. And while that initially sounds almost humorous for a serial killer, it could actually be the most important storyline of the entire season. Every villain Dexter has ever fought existed outside his mind. This battle is different because it's happening inside him. For decades, Dexter believed he understood exactly who he was. Harry's code gave him purpose. Deborah reminded him of his humanity. Harrison gave him hope. But now he's older, more isolated, and surrounded by uncertainty. His son is changing, his enemies are evolving, and even Harry's voice may no longer provide the answers Dexter desperately needs. The real question isn't whether Dexter can stop another killer. It's whether Dexter Morgan still knows who he truly is. Looking closely at the first look images, another interesting pattern begins to emerge. Nearly every photo feels colder, darker, and more isolated than before. Dexter rarely appears comfortable. Harrison seems increasingly independent. Charley looks like someone carrying secrets she refuses to share. Even Harry's return reminds us that Dexter is still haunted by the voice that's guided and sometimes manipulated him throughout his entire life. Whether these images are intentionally misleading or not, they all point toward one conclusion. This season isn't simply about shocking murders. It's about psychological pressure. Every relationship feels fragile. Every alliance feels temporary, and every character appears to be hiding something. My biggest theory is that the two killers aren't actually the final threat. They're the distraction. The real conflict may ultimately revolve around Harrison. Imagine Dexter spending the entire season trying to stop dangerous criminals, only to realize that his own son has completely abandoned Harry's code that would force Dexter into the most impossible decision of his life: protect Harrison because he's his son, or stop Harrison before he becomes something even worse. If the writers truly want to surprise longtime fans, they won't end Season 2 with the death of another serial killer. They'll end it with a father forced to choose between love and justice. That kind of emotional conflict has always been the heart of Dexter, and it would create one of the most unforgettable finales the franchise has ever delivered after nearly 2 decades. It's remarkable that Dexter can still surprise audiences. Season 2 isn't just introducing bigger actors or more dangerous villains. It appears to be asking the one question the franchise has avoided for years: what happens when the dark passenger is no longer the biggest monster in Dexter's life? If Paramount fully commits to that idea, this could easily become one of the strongest seasons in the entire series. We'll have to wait for the full trailer to know for sure, but if these first look images are any indication, there's a lot more hiding beneath the surface than most people realize. So now I want to hear from you. Who do you think will become Dexter's biggest threat this season? Is it the New York Ripper, Charley? Or do you think Harrison is the one we should really be worried about? Drop your theories in the comments because I genuinely love to read them. And if you enjoy deep dives into Dexter, Marvel, DC, The Boys, and the biggest movie and TV news, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.